Murphy Austin Adams Schoenfeld LLP, focusing on business law and commercial litigation, is proud to support Rob on the Road Region Rising. More information available at murphyaustin.com.
Coming up on Rob at Home, Lyle Jones joins me with how you can connect with the Crocker Art Museum in the months ahead, plus an eye-opening look at what the art world could be facing nationwide.
What are the other people saying around the country?
The prediction is there are 35,000 museums in the United States.
Wow.
The prediction right now is a third of them will be closed forever.
Forever?
Forever.
Wow.
It's devastating.
And Mary Kimball joins us from the Center for Land-Based Learning.
It is very difficult to make these sudden shifts with crops that are in the ground. You've already invested a great deal of money in. You want to harvest them, of course, but harvesting costs a significant amount of money. The larger the farm, the more labor it takes to harvest those crops. And that's why people get confused. Why are they tilling it under? Why can't they just send it to food banks?
Art and agriculture, next on Rob at Home.
And now, Rob on the Road, exploring Northern California.
Hi there, and welcome again to Rob at Home. It's great to see you. Art and agriculture have a lot in common. Both are driven by passion and can nourish and sustain. Mary Kimball is going to join us a little later with how the agriculture world is facing today. But first, we begin with one of Northern California's leaders in art.
Joining me now is Lyle Jones, the Mort and Marcy Friedman, Director and CEO of the Crocker Art Museum. Lyle, good to see you.
Rob, it's so nice to see you.
It's really nice to see you. I wish I could hug through the computer.
Well, your eyes do that for you.
Oh, and so do yours. Lyle, so this is a wild time. We never thought we'd be talking like this, huh?
We certainly didn't, but we're very adaptable people and we are working through this.
This time of uncertainty is bringing out a lot of feelings in people. And I'm hearing all across the board from people saying things will resume when things improve to things will dramatically change. From a museum world, we don't have a crystal ball, but are you thinking in those terms of what will this look like?
Yeah, I very much think of that, and I do talk to my colleagues around North America and internationally, and it's a great concern to all of us. None of us believes that the museum world will be what it was before this. It will be.
Really?
It will absolutely be changed. Visitation patterns will be changed. Funding patterns will be changed. We, of course, are closed, as is every museum in the state of California. Think about that. That's thousands of museums. Most are smaller than the Crocker, but they are all closed to the public. If you think about the museum, the Crocker, especially, the Crocker runs 900 programs a year prior to closure. Between 600 and 900 programs, in-person programs.
What are the other people saying around the country?
The prediction is there are 35,000 museums in the United States.
Wow.
The prediction right now is a third of them will be closed forever.
Forever?
Forever.
Wow.
It's devastating. We are thinking that large-scale programs are not going to happen for at least a year to 2 years. Things like New Year's Eve, 4,000 people come to the Crocker to see a ball drop at 12 noon. That's a program that's designed for young people that often don't stay up until 12 midnight. That program is gone. We will not be able to do that this year. We
You
will
already
not
know
be. Excuse me?
You already know that.
I'm sure of that. I'm absolutely sure of that.
When talking about the changes that we could see, are these changes strictly because of health concerns, or are they also financial concerns?
So most of these changes are really for health and safety purposes, but they all have financial implications. We have 3 large-scale fundraising events scheduled for this year between the first Saturday in June and the first Saturday in December. We're expecting that none of those will be held in person. And that puts a tremendous strain on the institution. This fiscal year, we're looking at a budget shortfall of $2 million of revenue. We've been cutting our expenses. We've been, basically, we've been trying to make sure that we can mitigate the effects of that revenue shortfall as much as possible. But we will see about $500,000. We will eat into our reserves by about $500,000 this year, which, thank goodness, we have those reserves. But I'm not worried actually as much about this fiscal year, and our fiscal year ends on June 30. It's next year. Right now, I'm expecting that we're going to have, if we kind of look at even cost-saving measures, we're going to have a deficit of $2 to $3 million. That is horrific, and we need to figure out how to mitigate that shortfall, how to trim our expenses in every way possible, how to figure out how we can continue to be of service to this community and yet not jeopardize our actual survival.
That's heavy, Lyle.
It is.
I have to ask you, if looking at that next fiscal year potential $2 to $3 million shortfall, I also know you and how you love the museum and the museum world. First of all, I want to say to you that it's going to be okay, because this community loves the Crocker and loves our organizations. And I also want to ask you, how are you getting through this today?
You keep as optimistic as you can. You need to be a realist. But you also have to absolutely believe that if you have provided service to this community, the members of the community will step forward and help you in a time of peril. And I do believe that. I believe that the museum is very important to many, many people in this community, and they will do what they can to help us survive.
I believe that. And you said a very powerful thing, is that you are providing services right now.
Overnight, the museum had to switch from providing experiences with art objects in person to figuring out how to deliver and show the power of art to people when they could not be in front of the real thing. Now, we of course have had experience doing this. We've always had digital content, but immediately we became content providers in a virtual world. And I'm really delighted with the response. And we are still pushing pieces out. There's a lot of content in the queue that's ready to go. But just the number of people that have watched our videos, the number of people that have liked Instagram posts, the most favorite Instagram post as far as reactions, over 5,000 people commented on the coyote that was picked up on our security screens in the museum's courtyard. Now, that courtyard is usually filled with people that are at the museum for programs or other activities. And it's really a stark reminder of how different the museum is right now.
I'm just curious, at a time like this, how can people use art to get through?
Well, it is very important to our health and well-being. And the museum has a lot of health and well-being programs, including artful meditation and slow looking programs that we're currently offering virtually. So you can use the collection as well as just browse the collection on our website. So you can visit your favorite pieces and see them and spend some time with them while you're at home. We're creating an artist coloring book. We're commissioning Sacramento artists to create artworks that we will publish and distribute to the community through food banks and 18 other community distribution points, so that we can get art, original art, into people's hands so that they have it in their home. We're also creating supply packages for basic art supplies so people can create on their own, because that creativity, that opportunity to make something is a great relief for many people.
I wonder if during this time of closure at the Crocker, have you walked through there alone?
I have not walked through the galleries, no. As again, keeping the galleries as locked down as possible is in their safety and security. I miss terribly seeing the museum staff, the museum's volunteers, donors. I miss our galleries horribly.
That's kind of what I meant, was how it feels to be in there now, not knowing what's ahead.
Right. Well, as I said, I'm an optimist. I know that the museum will survive this. Will be changed, but will survive. And, you know, we've seen a lot. The museum started under its current governance structure in 1885, so 130 years ago. A lot has happened in those 130 years in the past. I hope and trust that we'll be here for 130 years into the future. And I am sure, especially after this, that we will see many things that we could never have imagined in those next 130 years.
I will also say this: the Crocker Art Museum has survived all of its worst days and grown and thrived. And I know that will continue to be the case.
I am sure that's the fact.
Mary Kimball joins us now from the Center for Land-Based Learning, brand new headquarters in Woodland. Mary, great to see you.
It's great to be here, literally physically here in our new headquarters, which we move into in just 3 days, but also, of course, with you, Rob. It's always great to be with you.
Well, thank you, and you too. And it is quite a stunning facility. This has been a dream come true for you.
Yes, it has. It's been a long time. We've been in our current facility near Winters, which has served us extremely well, and so well, in fact, that we grew so much that we needed to build a new facility. We needed to move to a new location with more farmland. We needed more facilities for our staff. We needed more facilities for our students. So it's a great problem to have, and we've been doing construction for literally a year, almost exactly to the day. Started early May of 2019, and a year later we're moving in. So this is definitely a different time to be moving into the new facility. We thought we would be having a grand opening on May 14th. Obviously, that's not happening in the same way that we had expected to, but certainly it's still thrilling, and our staff is very much ready to move and make this our new home. Really, our portfolios are youth education and adult education. It's not all about creating the next generation of farmers. It's about that all of the different parts of the food system that we need, and the environmental system, and how all of those work together. We have to continue to make sure that people not only are exposed to it, but they really understand how they can further a career if they're interested in such an opportunity.
Mary, with your program, you have people that leave full-on established careers and say, I've had it.
Yeah.
I want to be a farmer. I want to connect to the land, connect to nature, connect to me, to their soul, you know?
You're right. These are people who are fed up, for lack of a better term, with their life. And they want to be fed in a new way. And they want to be fed in a new way. Maybe it's been a dream they've had for a long time. Well, that's where Center for Land-Based Learning comes into play. The Business Incubator Program, literally, we lease land and then we sublease it to those beginning farmers who've been through our program, or who are in the region and have needs for land to incubate. And literally, it's like a business incubator.
Yeah, it really is. It really
Farming,
is.
but we're giving them all that support, and we're giving them very, very reduced value in terms of their lease. And they get a lot of equipment and supplies and marketing help and connections to things that they never would have. on their
Fantastic.
own.
Yeah. And I think about what's happening right now with the pandemic and our earth and how important it is with how we treat the earth.
Mhm.
And I just see a correlation there that you are already laying the groundwork for the stewards of this world.
That's right. I mean, that's what we've always wanted to do and intended to do. And whether or not the students go into careers in agriculture and environmental sciences, obviously they are exposed to things that they never would have been exposed to. And that is something that people are really yearning. We're definitely seeing that right now with the pandemic, the huge increase in gardening, which I kind of love. I mean, it reminds me of a good friend of mine has done a lot of research on victory gardens, right? In the early 1900s during World War I and World War II, and that we needed food security. And where was our food going to come from if those supply chains were disrupted, which they were then as well. And now significantly, but I think it's also about, it's yes, you see shortages in the grocery store, and that's scary, but you also want to reconnect in a way by getting outside and connecting to the earth, connecting to hearing the birds. And I hope that I hope some silver linings from this pandemic. Obviously, there's a lot of loss, and there is a lot of hardship, and a great deal of people who are going to be completely changed, and businesses that are going to be completely changed. But I like to also think about what are the silver linings.
Right, and there are a lot when it comes to agriculture. I feel that there are tangible silver linings and thus outcomes if people will absorb them during this time.
Mm-hmm.
That could really have a dramatic impact on our earth. And how we treat our earth and our land is incredibly important.
Yes, and how we treat farmers or farm workers. You know, I mean, they are out there day in and day out producing food, harvesting food in very extreme conditions, as are a lot of folks who are helping make sure that we're getting our food, whether it's at the grocery store or it's delivered to your door or whatever. I mean, I think that one of the interesting things that I'm seeing right now is this very different attitude about food production, about food security, about the importance, again, of our lands and making sure that we have accessibility. And what does that mean? You know, you think about most of the time, you don't have to think about it at all. It's just always there for you. And so I am hoping that one of the silver linings is some very deep discussions and bigger understanding about the food system as a whole, where things are right and where things are wrong, or can be changed, maybe with some in some cases big tweaks, in some cases small tweaks. And I've been talking to farmers and resource managers all around the state about the supply chain and what has changed for them.
What are you hearing? What is there a driving theme, or is it all like with farming all across the board?
It's all across the board, and it depends on what you grow, and it depends on where you are in the country, and it depends on what kinds of markets you have. So a lot of people, they are confused, and I get it. Agriculture and our supply chain is very confusing. There's a lot. It's extremely complex. It's so complex. I'm learning a lot in this last month or so.
But our farmers are the greatest entrepreneurs, I believe.
But it's hard, but it is hard to switch, right? So if you're growing a specific crop and 40 or 50% of your crop is going to the food service side, okay? So all of the restaurants and the Sysco's and it's going into hospitals or, big quantities, okay? And you are serving that market 50%, it's gone. It's gone. So you don't just get to change your crop in 2 days. I mean, I literally,
right.
it's very
It's
interesting to
established.
see people's responses. Well, why don't they just grow something else?
So that brings me to a really good point.
Do that.
When I hear from people that I'm talking to outside of California, across the country, they'll say, we saw a video of farmers turning up crops and what in the world is going on with that?
Yeah.
Well, it's not just what it looks like.
That's right.
There's
It's not.
the last thing in the world they want to do is to turn over and till and not be able to
It's
share the fruits of their
literally
labor.
heartbreaking for them.
Why is that happening? Is it because the supply chain is
The
so
supply
corrupt?
chain, yes. And so 40, depending on, what numbers you look at, it's between 40 and 45% of the food production in this country goes into food service. Okay. So again, doesn't go to the grocery. I mean, yes, we have a lot that goes to the grocery store, of course. And we see shortages there. And people, they go, why is there nothing on the shelves? And then they're dumping milk or they're tilling under lettuce or whatever it is. It's because that lettuce and that milk was destined to food service. You can't turn on a dime. You can't take a processing facility that normally puts milk into 1 gallon jugs or whatever it is, and suddenly change it over to 50-gallon drums. You can't,
Right.
don't do that like that. It doesn't happen
You
that
can't. And not to mention the food safety, the food traceability.
Yes.
It's just not the way that agriculture works, nor can. It's not that it's not ready to do it, it's that it can't. It's a supply chain.
Yes, and it's set up in those ways for very good reasons, for efficiencies and so on. And they made sense. They make sense when you're not in a pandemic, right?
It's like an interstate.
I mean,
You can't just drive any direction on an interstate and get off any ramp you want to in any direction.
Yes.
You get in and out, and you're part of the flow of the food chain, or
Right.
the driving on the interstate. I mean, it's the same type of analogy.
And yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting that some of the smaller farms are able to pivot quicker right now, which kind of makes sense. You think the bigger something is, the harder it is to change course. It is very difficult to make these sudden shifts with crops that are in the ground. You've already invested a great deal of money in. You want to harvest them, of course, but harvesting costs a significant amount of money. The larger the farm, the more labor it takes to harvest those crops. And that's why people get confused. Why are they tilling it under? Why can't they just send it to food banks? And yes, that is an option. And you probably saw that Governor Newsom signed or put into place with CDFA and our Secretary Ross a wonderful new program to purchase those extra, whether it's lettuce or whatever kind of crop it is, and send it to food banks, the food banks that actually have cold storage. We rely on this labor force for so many things. And that's to me the biggest thing that is so troubling that we've continued to not deal with.
So what would you say if you could speak directly to the person in charge of that? Speak to the farms, to speak for the people who work there. What would you say?
Well, I mean, I would say that that this group of people have been literally fundamental to and essential. I mean, the whole ag is essential, or is a good term, I think, because we do not function. We do not function as a country without these workers. We just don't.
Yeah.
Our food system doesn't, obviously. So many other parts of our system, construction, so many other things are reliant on an immigrant population. It has always been this way. It's not like it's something different now. We've always had immigrants, and people want to argue, well, they came in legally. Well, we had a different kind of system then than we do today. And the situation is dire. We are at a place where we are at the precipice. And I really do think that the COVID-19 pandemic is exposing those, not just cracks. These are not cracks, Rob. These are huge, these are Grand Canyons. We're going to fall in, and it's going to be very, very difficult to get out. And we're in, for a lot of businesses right now, that's going to be happening. But I think for the any of the immigrant labor force, for any industry, especially in California, of course, but all over the country. This is not, when you look at the meat packing plants right now, you look at, there's a lot of issues and they're reliant on this force. And so what are we doing? What are we doing as a country to ensure that they are, absolutely taken care of, raised up to the level that they should be? How can we take some of the things we're learning now and continue to digest them and make behavioral change? Not just a quick attitudinal change or a quick, okay, I know that it's knowledge, but how do we go from knowledge and attitude to behavior? So
Right.
what are some of those things that we can do? And then from the food perspective, from the farmer perspective, what can you do to buy from local farmers? And so again, I hope another silver lining out of this is that we do find things that aren't political, that are just good for us and our communities and our wildlife and our people and our waterways and whatever it is. And we just keep working on making those things better.
Mary Kimball, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it.
Check us out on Facebook on the Rob on the Road page, where you will find more interviews. We are not in this for the clicks and likes. That page is all about compassion and life. We'll see you next time right here on Rob at Home.
Murphy Austin Adams Schoenfeld LLP, focusing on business law and commercial litigation, is proud to support Rob on the Road, Region Rising. More information available at murphyaustin.com.